Good afternoon, distinguished guests, media friends, ladies and gentlemen, and also the guests who are joining us here online. Welcome to the MPF Symposium 2022, and I'll be your MC today. My name is Gabriella. So before we proceed, can I have everybody to put your hand together to kickstart today's symposium? Thank you. So this is the 22nd year since the MPF systems began operating, which means it is midway towards becoming a mature retirement protection systems in Hong Kong. I'm very pleased to say that we have been making great progress on the constructions of the MPF platforms. And when completed, it will bring about the single largest reform of the MPF systems and will reshape the administrative models of the current MPF schemes. So our symposium to date is being held under the theme, What is Next? The New Trends of MPF. So if you would like to have a rundown of today's programs and the speakers' biographies, please feel free to scan the QR code on the back of your name badge. And we will be also having a Q&A sessions throughout the symposium. So for the guests who are here in person, can raise questions by scanning the QR codes for today's programs. Then click the Q&A button on the top right corner. And this will open an online form for you to write down your questions. And if you're joining us online, please use the chat function in Zoom. And now, without any further ado, let's put our hands together and welcome Mrs. Ayesha Macpherson Lau, Chairman of the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority, to deliver an opening address. Let's welcome Mrs. Lau. Mrs. Lau, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the MPF Symposium. First of all, let me thank the Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury, Mr. Christopher Hui, for being our guest of honor. Thank you for coordinating with the Legislative Council so well so that you can be here with us in person. Now, our theme for today is What's Next? The New Trends of MPF. Over the next couple of hours, we are going to look into the future of the MPF with a special focus on investments and on the new e-MPF platform. As you know, for many local workers, MPF is the largest pot of retirement savings they will accumulate during their working lives. But here's the challenge. People in Hong Kong today are living longer than ever, at an average 83 years or more for men, and over 87 years for women. A longer lifespan means they will have more expenses to take care of. So it is important for the MPF funds to be able to generate a sustainable level of retirement income. That's why our trustees and investment managers must continuously look for investment strategies that yield better long-term returns. At the MPFA, we work with the industry to produce appropriate investment solutions that increase the diversity of investment choices for scheme members. We also review permissible MPF investments to keep up with new developments in the market. Let me give you a recent example. This year, the Central People's Government, the People's Bank of China, and the 3 mainland policy banks were added to the exempt authorities list. As a result, an MPF fund may now invest up to 30% of its funds in debt securities of the same issue that are issued or unconditionally guaranteed by these or other exempt authorities. Or it can invest 100% in debt securities of the same exempt authority, comprising at least 6 different issues. We will continue to work with you, the industry, on investment solutions. On diversity of investment choices, currently there are 27 MPF schemes with 412 constituent funds on the market. A typical MPF fund offers an average of 15 funds, and some even have more than 20 MPF funds. We are well aware that the range of constituent funds in an MPF scheme should be diverse enough to address the needs of scheme members who have different risk appetites and expectations in both the accumulation and post-retirement phases of their MPF investments. So, given the importance of this subject, the MPFA provides guidance to assist the industry. Earlier today, we issued a circular outlining the refined approval criteria for constituent funds. More details on this will be shared with you later by our Executive Director in charge of policy, Gabriella Yi. Gabriella will also discuss our efforts to promote a sound investment governance framework and transparency for the MPF schemes. Turning to the current top priority of the MPFA, I would like to update you on the progress we are making with the e-MPF platform project. The system development of the platform is now heading towards the finish line. We have come a long way working in partnership with our trustees who have devoted a lot of time and efforts to this project. Trustees have already commenced preparatory work for onboarding and are working closely with our e-MPF platform company to get the MPF schemes onboarded in sequence starting in the middle of next year, the earliest. The launch of the e-MPF platform will have far-reaching implications for all our stakeholders in the MPF ecosystem, including our sponsors and trustees who have a critical role to play. This cost-efficient administration platform will not only meet the needs of all stakeholders, but also act as a driver for behavioral change, encouraging more direct involvement in retirement investment. What's more, it will help improve the public perceptions of the system, as it will allow scheme members to manage their retirement investments by themselves, anytime, anywhere, and it will also offer new opportunities to the industry. I think it's fair to say that the e-MPF platform will herald the dawn of a whole new era for MPF, benefiting all our stakeholders. Now, we've done a lot together on this project, but there is still a lot more to be done. So, from now to 2025, when the e-MPF platform comes into full operation, I expect the MPFA and industry to be very busy. We are most grateful for the continuous support of the industry during the development phase of the platform over the past 2 years. Trustees and various industry members have tirelessly participated in so many working meetings with us. So I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you for all your support. Now, we are counting on your continued participation in this challenging yet meaningful reform journey that will transform Hong Kong's retirement protection system and take it to the next level. Well, thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate that your time is valuable, so we hope that you will find our symposium a good use of your time and will enjoy the networking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Loud, for the opening remarks. Please be seated. Thank you very much. So today we're very honored to have our guest of honor joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hand together for Mr. Christopher Ho, Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury, to deliver his remark. Let's welcome Mr. Ho.
Chairperson Ayesha, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very rare speech because I have to deliver twice. I did that, I think, a few days back with MPFA support because I thought I couldn't make this occasion. But eventually, unexpectedly, I could make it, so I'm more than happy to deliver it again. So it's turning from virtual reality to actual reality in terms of delivery of this message. It is my great pleasure to really address you all for this year's MPF Symposium. And this year's symposium themes are a better retirement outcome, as highlighted by the chairperson just now, and the post-eMPF ecosystem. They are indeed very timely and topical for us to discuss, not because I'm retiring, but for everybody who are planning for retirement. As we navigate around uncertainties in global markets, the financial services industry should remain vigilant and manage risks with a robust governance and management framework. This is especially true for the MPF system, as we count on it to deliver the mission of providing better retirement outcome for the Hong Kong working population. On the other hand, we are collectively working at full steam for the development of the e-MPF platform. This project echoes the global trend of using technology to improve and transform financial services, a key topic our financial service industry has discussed recently at the Hong Kong FinTech Week event. Just wonder, anyone, show of hands, have been to the FinTech Week this year? Oh, so I hope next year when I come there could be more. And we also see e-MPF as a key strategic FinTech project. And we have high expectation for it to harness technology to improve cost efficiency, administrative convenience, and customer experience, and pave the way for future reforms and evolution of the MPF ecosystem. You will hear more about this key priority from our distinguished speakers later today. To scheme members, MPF investment performance is probably top of the agenda. When market conditions become so volatile and uncertain around the globe, there has been constant questions about the role of MPF in providing retirement protection and stable return. And this is also the question that always got challenged at the LegCo, as all of you can imagine. And before we discuss this issue, it is helpful to bear in mind that generally it takes over 40 years to develop a mature retirement protection system. The MPF system has been operating for almost 22 years and is at the midway point in its journey to maturity. It is now an opportune time to look back and review performance, but it's just equally important to have patience for the system to further improve and mature. We must not lose sight of the design and objective of the MPF as a long-term savings and investment scheme in the overall framework of retirement protection. Scheme members are strongly advised to allocate their investment portfolio according to their risk tolerance level and stage of life, and should not try to time the market. Though many scheme members and some commentators are critical of MPF performance, this view on keeping up with the long-term savings and investment amid short-term market volatility is indeed shared by many. Despite market fluctuations, the MPF system has demonstrated resilience over the past years. Over the past 21 years, the MPF recorded positive returns for 14 years, and those years with negative returns were often followed by a rebound. No one has crystal ball, really, to know what's next in the investment market. But the very design of the MPF system is to leverage the capability and potential of the privately managed pension funds with robust regulatory oversight and prudent investment on a long-term basis. The past 21 years demonstrate the strength and resilience of the MPF system, not only in the good times when the market blooms and yields good returns from our members, but also in the lows when scheme members can buy cheap and create value for the future. Although no one can control or change the investment environment, enhancing the diversity of investment choice while balancing investment returns and risks can protect scheme members' interests. The government and MPFA have introduced a number of measures, and one of them introduced by Ayesha just now in recent years, that diversify MPF investment, including facilitating MPF investment in mainland Asia and bonds issued or unconditionally guaranteed by the CPG, the People's Bank of China, and the 3 mainland policy banks. The government and MPFA are constantly reviewing the MPF investment regulation and tapping industry's views with scheme members' interests first. You will be pleased to know that the MPFA has introduced refinements to the approval framework for MPF funds in order to promote diversity in fund choices to better meet the changing environment and also investment appetite of scheme members at different stages of investment. More details about this framework will be shared later on with you all. Last but not least, let me come back to the key topic of the e-MPF platform. The MPFA and e-MPF platform company are working at full steam, as highlighted by the chairperson just now, with staunch support of the MPF sector to build the e-MPF platform. As one of the most significant reform initiatives of the MPF system since its inception, the e-MPF platform, being a centralized, common platform, seeks to standardize, streamline, and automate existing MPF scheme administration processes. Through enhancing the operational efficiency and cost effectiveness of the e-MPF system, the e-MPF platform will help reduce the administrative costs of the MPF funds and pave the way for other important reform initiatives upon its full commissioning. To scheme members, every penny saved as a result of digitization of the MPF ecosystem brought by the e-MPF platform will mean more for investment and positive return. The cumulative cost savings are estimated to be in the range of 30 to 40 billion Hong Kong dollars over a 10-year period after the implementation of the e-MPF platform. Such huge benefit will enable the sustainable development of the MPF system. To conclude, I wish to express my gratitude to the MPFA and our industry participants for organizing and joining the symposium today. I'm sure wisdom will be gathered to improve our MPF system for the retirement benefits of the Hong Kong population. Thank you, and have a good symposium.
Thank you, Mr. Hui. Please remain on stage. Please kindly proceed to the center of the stage as we're going to have a good photo right now. And I would also like to invite Mrs. Ayesha Macpherson Lau, Chairman of MPFA. Let's welcome Mrs. Lau. Mrs. Lau, please. And next we have Mr. Zhang Yan-chee, Managing Director of MPFA. Let's welcome Mr. Zhang. So please kindly look into our photographer for a good photo first. And also for our media friends. So our guests on stage, please remain on stage. And now I would like to invite the speakers on stage as well. So first, let's welcome Ms. Kashi Lau, Chairman of the Hong Kong Trustees Association. Let's welcome Ms. Lau. And next we have Mr. Colin Pao, Executive Director, Financial Infrastructures of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. And next we have Ms. Rainbow Pang, Chairman of the Pension Schemes Association. And next we have Mr. Kelvin Chiu, Chairman of the Hong Kong Retirement Schemes Association. And next we have Ms. Cynthia Ho, Acting Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director, members of the MPFA. And last we have Ms. Gabriella Yi, Executive Director, Policy of the MPFA. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, please look into our photographer in the center for a good photo. Please look into our photographer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hand together for our officiating guest and speaker one more time. Thank you very much. Please be seated on stage. Thank you. Thank you very much, our speakers and also our officiating guests for joining us here today. I think we're going to learn a lot of insight from them today. So before we start our first sessions, please be reminded that if you have any questions throughout the presentations, please scan the program QR code on the back of your name badge and click the Q&A button on the top right corner. And this will open an online form for you to raise your questions. So for our online friends, please use the chat function in Zoom to raise your questions. And now to kick off our first session, a better retirement outcome. We're very honored to have Mr. Kelvin Chiu, Chairman of the Hong Kong Retirement Schemes Association, and he'll be sharing his thoughts on striving for a better retirement outcome. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Chiu. Mr. Chiu, please.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, Secretary Hui, Chairman Person Ayesha, and Managing Director Yan-chee, and all the industry friends and colleagues that's here and online. Good afternoon. Thank you to MPFA, first of all, for inviting Hong Kong RSA, Retirement Schemes Association, to share some of the work we've done around this topic on striving for a better retirement outcome. And just a little bit about Hong Kong RSA. We are an entirely volunteer organization, and we have been around since 1996, so this is our 26th year. And our mission and goal really is to advocate and promote better retirement outcome for the Hong Kong people. And throughout the years, all the years, we have been supporting and providing input to all the system and regulatory changes around retirement in Hong Kong. And we've been supporting all the regulatory changes as well, including the very important initiative right now, e-MPF. We had just had our very successful, and thank you to Cynthia for supporting us, a third seminar and webinar on the topic of e-MPF. And this one we just finished with Cynthia was one of our best attended webinar. And it was really targeted in the employer space to talk to employers about their questions and concerns and their input on e-MPF and how we can jointly make it a success. So again, I'm very honored to hear representing all the hard work done by the Hong Kong RSA staff. To talk about a better outcome, we have to start with what the members are expecting. So just to share with you some of the highlights, this is one of the research paper that RSA has done over the years, and this one we just released a finding last year. And we sponsor a research aimed at the middle incomes group in Hong Kong and looking at their expectations and their expected outcome in retirement. And why we picked this is because many middle-income earners do not qualify for mean-tested Social Security and do not have sufficient investment or savings to actually maintain a similar standard of living after retirement. So we felt that it was really important to highlight this group and share their expectations and thoughts with all the industry participants and also with the regulator. So we conducted this research and we asked those 50 to 59-year-old with a monthly income 18,000 to 30,000, and we released some of the key outcomes and recommendations last year. So here I just want to highlight some of the one that really touches on striving for a better outcome. So on the expected source of income, like Chairperson Ayesha pointed out, MPF plays a critical role in this group's expected source of income in retirement. And together with their savings investment, accounts for a majority of the source for their retirement income. But only 21% of the respondents stated clearly that they plan to retire at a particular age, on average, which is 61.7. But 65% actually said that they plan to continue their current job for as long as possible. So this is important because it highlights two things. One is the concerns around the adequacy of their income in retirement, but also people are now expecting, as Ayesha pointed out, live longer. So the way people retire are changing. The stopping working fully at retirement is longer a trend, and the new trend is actually people are expecting to work more after they retire. And then 30% of the respondents say they plan to work part-time after retirement to help fund their lifestyle. And again, this is one of the key outcome we want to highlight because 54% actually believe their financial circumstances and 46% believe their health will deteriorate after retirement. And more than 36% actually said that the quality of life after retirement will be worse off, and only 16% believe that it will be better. So again, this is one of the concerning outcome that came out of our research. Now, from a expenditure perspective, the respondents expect that healthcare is going to be the single biggest, largest expense after retirement. And as they live longer, this could become more of a challenge for them. So in addition to what the members are expecting, we wanted to highlight some of the key risks that could be faced by retirees and how it impacts their retirement savings. So the first one, Ayesha already really quick highlighted on, this is key, the longevity risk. And this is something that as an individual, it's the most challenging one to face and try to solve on your own. So again, we'll talk about some of the recommendation around how do we collectively help people face this longevity challenge. And the second one is on inflation. As we all been hearing now, after years of low inflation, this is now becoming an issue. And even at the lower inflation stage, we worry about people saving. In a way, how much you save, it's just as important as how you save. And how your savings can actually accumulate on a rate that's higher than inflation, so you're actually getting a real return in the long run, it's very important. So then as inflation starts to rise, which we look at September 2022, now it rose by 4.4% compared to the same month over a year earlier. This is going to become a bigger challenge. And especially in post-retirement, as we live longer, on average more than 20 years, how do we continue to invest and not draw down on all the income, but continue to invest and can have inflation risk being taken care of is very important. Just to demonstrate how important it is and how big of impact inflation can have on retirement savings, if we look at estimation, at age 65, if we increase inflation just by 40 basis points, this means retiree who retires at 65 actually had to postpone retirement by 13 months to accumulate enough savings to deal with the inflation's increase. Now, this becomes even more pronounced and challenging at a younger age. So if, at age 20, if the inflation goes up by 40%, you're going to have to delay your retirement by 52 months if you don't do something to respond to the rising inflation. So again, this is something that it's a key risk that's faced by all the participants in the retirement system in Hong Kong, and we are advocating for more tools and more solutions to help people address this risk. And then the rising interest rate is also a new risk. As we all know that to deal with inflation, central banks around the world has been rising interest rate. And this, in the long term, if it continues, can lead to not just market volatility, but potentially a recession or stagflation situation prolonged. So this is, again, something that it's very challenging for individuals to deal with. And we all saw how people responded to the recent market volatility. So some of the recommendations that came out of our research paper, I just want to highlight some of them, the key ones. The first around the systems in Hong Kong. So under the three-pillar system, we have recommendations on each of the pillar. So on Social Security, we're recommending to relax eligibility criteria for old age living allowance and lower the age which the elderly can claim the old age allowance to 65. From Pillar 2 in the MPF system, we have recognized that the introduction of DIS, ECA, and also the MPF platform aiming to reduce fees are all very important measures to help improve the outcome we can draw from Pillar 2, which is MPF for most people. And in addition to some of these numerous reforms in recent years, we're also encouraging the industry participant and also the regulator to help us think about how do we raise employees' awareness on their MPF. How do we get more people to participate and pay attention to their savings? And how do we continue to improve the scheme to enhance overall provisions and also encourage the launch of more innovative fund choices that generate stable long-term returns that could beat inflation, including things like annuity-like options and post-retirement investment solution, which as the establishment of the investment solution lab by the MPFA, we have seen some really good products released by providers into the market. And on the third pillar, on the voluntary contributions, there's tools that exist now, including the reverse mortgage, the qualified deferred annuity plan, and then also the tax incentivized voluntary contribution. These are all very, very good tools, but what we found is the uptake for these voluntary pension schemes or retirement tools are low. And they're generally targeted at higher income earners. So that, again, how do we together respond to this challenge is very important. Now, our other recommendations, in addition to the recommendation on the potentially bettering the framework and the system, including how do we do better on retirement education and encourage people to take part. And then how do we provide employment opportunities for the elderly? Because we talked about one of the findings, people expect to work, but some expect to work in their current job for as long as possible, but there's also a big population who expected to change and work part-time. And so how do we find opportunities for those elderly? And then on healthcare and well-being, we talked about the findings on healthcare being one of the biggest single largest expenses. Then how do we increase transparency and collaborate with different sectors to reduce waiting times? And then the social network for physical and mental well-being for the elderly is also very important. And last but not least, we felt like we really have to turn to the Greater Bay Area to look for a holistic solution and based on an ecosystem approach. Because retirement is not just about financial well-being, it's also about your holistically lifestyle and how do you live well. So it's very important to not just look at Hong Kong, but with the policy encouraging and allowing us to look further beyond the Hong Kong and how do we leverage the advantage of each of the cities in the GBA area is very key. And not just for financial solution, but also on options on lower cost of living areas and different support system that could be provided. So on that front, a couple of things I want to mention. One is around education. In its 26th year, Hong Kong RSA has decided to launch a new platform called retirehk.com. So this is a completely free web portal that is accessible by all the people in Hong Kong. And we aim to provide educational materials and reference material that people can read and explore around the topic of wealth, health, and live well. So this is a fully built-up ecosystem providing information to all the Hong Kong people in both English and Chinese. So it's a very important step for Hong Kong RSA, and we built the website portal, and it was launched last year. And this year, furthermore, we have now established as a separate subsidiary so it can support and have a different mission while Hong Kong RSA focused on working with the employer and the government. Retire Hong Kong can really be the tool that faces the Hong Kong people and be used by everyone to gain information on how to strive for a better retirement outcome. So to that, we already conducted a whole bunch of, a number of seminars and webinars on different topics that are different than the ones you see hosted by Hong Kong RSA, mostly around retirement financial topics. This one is a lot more centered around all the different pillars on wealth, health, and live well, and providing more information for the Hong Kong people. So if you haven't had a chance, please take a look at retirehk.com and provide us with any feedback you have that we can make this website better for everybody in Hong Kong. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we talk about one of the recommendations being leveraging the GBA. We are this year, our research paper is topic around the GBA. It's now in the hands of our regulators, helping us to review the final paper, and it should be published early next year. So please stay tuned. And again, once you read the paper, if you have any inputs or suggestions for us, please don't hesitate to reach out. So that concludes my presentation today. Thank you for inviting me again. And I hope if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
So Mr. Chiu, please stay with us. So we're actually getting a few questions for you, but then due to the limited time, so I'm going to choose one question for you.
Sure.
So the first question is, your presentation has mentioned about the launch of innovative fund choices to generate stable returns. So which products do you have in mind that the financial services industry could develop to deliver a stable return, especially when the inflation is so high and the capital markets are volatile? So over to you, Kelvin.
Thank you for the great question. So as Ayesha mentioned, a lot of our scheme on average has 15 funds already, some over the number of 20. So there's already a lot of good funds out there for people to choose from and build their retirement portfolio. But the one area that we feel like it's very challenging still is the product that deals with inflation. Now, again, thankfully, MPFA established the retirement, the solutions lab. So we were able to see one of the key industry players launch a product that's actually linked to inflation. So the goal for that product is actually beating CPI plus 2%. So that was the first one that we've seen in the market that actually focuses on inflation and beating inflation as a key outcome. So I think we need to see more of those type of products that is actually addressing inflation challenges and make people think more explicitly about the challenges they face due to inflation. And in order to build those innovative products that can handle inflation risk, we really need more tools as well. It's very challenging to build innovative products that if we're limited on the tools we can use. So I know as industry and with other associations, we've all been working on with MPF on how can we together find more ways and more tools so we can build these inflation-linked type products for the Hong Kong people to help them get a better retirement outcome. So yeah, that's something really important we must continue to work on.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chiu. Can we all put a big hand to Mr. Chiu one more time for the sharing?
Thank you.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. So I think after Kelvin's presentation, I think we all have a better understanding about how we can strive for a better retirement outcome. So coming up next, we're going to have our next presentations. So how can our industry achieve better retirement outcomes? MPFA has been going all out to overcome the obstacles that working people face saving for their retirement. So a big part of that is investment governance and management, a topic that Ms. Gabriella Yi, Executive Director for Policy of the MPFA, will share with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Yi. Ms. Yi, please.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to speak to you today on the topic investment governance and management. I'm sure you agree that this is an important topic indeed, and that we should all be very clear as to what investment governance and management means and how it should be done in practice. Since good governance means an important role in the functioning of an effective pension system, promoting a high standard of governance amongst all trustees have always been a key regulatory objective of the MPFA. In this regard, the MPFA has been making continuous efforts to promulgate the importance of a sound governance framework for the management of MPF schemes. The purpose of my speech today is therefore twofold. Firstly, to reiterate the MPFA's emphasis on good governance and recap the work done, and secondly, to share with you MPFA's two most recent governance-related initiatives, namely trustees' governance reporting and enhanced funds choice within an MPF scheme. As you are aware, under the law, MPF trustees are the key parties responsible for all aspects of an MPF scheme. MPF trustees are responsible for appointing investment managers and other service providers and ensuring their compliance with all MPF requirements, standards, and guidelines. As fiduciaries, MPF trustees have the duties to, among other things, monitor the performance of the investment managers and to ensure that the fund choices are sufficiently diverse to meet the different needs of scheme members with different outcome expectations and risk appetites in both the accumulation phase as well as the post-retirement phase. Some of you may remember that in 2018, we have a governance charter ceremony, and all MPF trustees signed the governance charter, pledging to put in place a sound governance framework and uphold the core values set out in the governance charter at all times. After that, the MPFA issued the governance principles for MPF trustees that year, which acted as a compass to steer the MPF trustees in implementing a good governance framework. The issuance of these principles have paved the way for us to roll out initiatives to further enhance the protection of scheme members' interests from a governance perspective. For example, in 2020, the MPFA issued the Principles for Developing Retirement Solutions, which provided a high-level framework to assist the MPF industry in developing suitable retirement solutions to meet scheme members' needs in both the accumulation phase and post-retirement phase. Since then, 3 retirement solutions were offered by 3 MPF trustees, As Calvin has mentioned, one of them has an inflation protection feature. Although these three different solutions have different investment objectives, they have the common aim of providing stable return or income for scheme members. Last year, we promulgated principles for adopting sustainable investing in the investment and risk management of MPF funds, as we recognize the need to drive the development of sustainable investing practices for MPF investment to mitigate environmental, social, and governance, or ESG risks, and protect scheme members' interests. Earlier this year, to facilitate MPF trustees' implementation of the governance principle on communicating clearly and effectively with their scheme members, the MPFA rolled out a simplified disclosure framework, under which information about MPF scheme is disclosed through a layered approach by means of the key scheme information document. This helps improve the reading experience of our scheme members, facilitating them to make informed investment decisions with respect to the MPF. Our continuous efforts in promoting a high standard of governance amongst all MPF trustees have contributed to the improvement in the robustness of the MPF system. Our assessment, based on the World Bank's outcome-based assessment framework, is that the MPF system is doing well in terms of coverage, sustainability, and security, and is making good progress in improving efficiency and adequacy. Our efforts are also gaining international recognition. In the Mercer CFA Institute Global Pension Index, Hong Kong scored 67.7 this year and ranked second in Asia after Singapore, and we are 19th among 44 retirement income systems all over the world. Despite our achievements, we can never be content and should always aim higher and strive for the better. To further our work on promoting good governance of MPF trustees, we have introduced a new governance reporting framework. Earlier, in August this year, we issued a circular to provide guidance to MPF trustees on making available an annual governance report to MPF scheme members, disclosing how the trustees have strived to bring better value for the MPF scheme members in the financial year concerned and the improvements that have been undertaken. In this governance report provides a description of the MPF trustees' governance framework put in place to demonstrate that the governance structure is defined, the responsibilities have been assigned, and a reporting mechanism has been established. The governance report should also provide an explanation of the process and consideration of the MPF trustees in assessing value for scheme members, resulting actions or changes taken by MPF trustees to improve the value for scheme members, and a review of the effectiveness of the actions taken in the relevant assessment period. Say, for example, if the performance issues are identified, the MPF trustee will have to take actions to address them and document this in the governance report. This report greatly enhances the transparency of MPF trustees' governance, allowing the MPFA to follow up with the MPF trustees in question if there are issues with the governance framework. This report also serves as an important tool for scheme members to evaluate how dedicated their MPF trustees have been striving to bring better value for them. MPF trustees will have to prepare this governance report on an annual basis for each scheme under their trusteeship for all financial years ending on or after the 30th of November 2022 and submit it to the MPFA within 6 months after the financial year end date of the scheme. This report will be posted on our website for all to see. MPF trustees will start to submit the first governance report from the second quarter of next year onwards. As a next step, MPFA will analyze the reports received and identify good practices for sharing with MPF trustees. Apart from providing regular governance reports, the governance principles also call on MPF trustees to review regularly the range of MPF funds of schemes under their trusteeship. This is the second governance-related initiative that I'm now going to talk about. As you can see, there are over 400 constituent funds, or CF in short, available to scheme members. Under the law, these CFs are subject to the approval of the MPFA for the protection of scheme members, and hence the MPFA plays a key gatekeeping and standard-setting role in regulating the range of CFs to be offered. From a governance perspective, MPF trustees have to ensure that the fund choices offered under the MPF schemes are sufficiently diverse to meet the different needs of the scheme members. In addition, MPF trustees also have to assess the suitability of these funds offered to scheme members and propose enhancements as necessary. The MPFA has also been listening to the voice of scheme members and considering how the investment choices may address scheme members' concerns. Over the years, the MPFA have taken different measures to this end. Examples include the introduction of the Default Investment Strategy, or the DIS, in 2017, and the issuance of a set of principles in 2020 that provides a high-level framework to assist the MPF industry in developing suitable retirement solutions, which I mentioned earlier. We all know that Hong Kong is having a rapidly aging population, and the financial markets are becoming more volatile. As such, it is imperative that the range of CFs in an MPF scheme is sufficiently diverse to address the needs of scheme members with different retirement outcome expectations and risk appetites, and not just in the accumulation phase, but also in the post-retirement phase. Nevertheless, a balance needs to be struck between offering too narrow a choice of different constituent funds, which may impede the ability of scheme members to allocate the investment according to their risk appetite and target investment outcome, and providing too many choices, which would then result in choice overload on the part of scheme members. In this connection, to further promote the provision of a suitable array of investment choices offered to scheme members, we have recently completed a review of the approval criteria for the CFs, taking into account the views of scheme members and the MPF industry associations, and decided to refine them. Let me highlight the new key elements and walk you through them. We have introduced a new overarching principle that requires the MPF trustee to review whether the addition of a new CF could enhance the diversity of the existing range of CFs in an MPF scheme to meet the needs of scheme members with different outcome expectations and risk appetites. MPF trustees should note that proposals received will be assessed on a case-by-case basis, taking into consideration the current range of CFs within the relevant MPF scheme. The MPFA will not approve a new CF unless we are satisfied that this new overarching principle is met by the MPF trustee. This is to prevent duplication of funds with similar investment objectives and to prevent choice overload. We have also refined some of the existing criteria to facilitate the MPF industry in offering a more diverse range of CFs. The new types of CFs allowed include China ACS funds, single country funds in respect of countries with significant stock market capitalizations, and specialty funds meeting certain conditions. The refined criteria as set out in the circular issued earlier today will take immediate effect. It is the MPFA's belief that the refined criteria will facilitate MPF trustees in designing products that can address the needs of scheme members in both the accumulation and the post-retirement phases. We look forward to receiving from the MPF industry innovative proposals which serve scheme members' interests and needs. While we are on the subject of MPF funds and investments, let me take the opportunity to take a few words on MPF's current work on expanding the scope of MPF permissible investments to facilitate the MPF industry in providing more diversified, innovative retirement investment products to scheme members. Apart from refining the approval criteria for CFs, the MPFA has been working closely with the MPF industry on expanding the MPF permissible investments. Our recent work in this regard includes adding the Shanghai Stock Exchange and the Shenzhen Stock Exchange the list of thrift stock exchanges in 2020 to expand the investment allocation limit for A shares and the expansion of the asset allocation and markets for real estate investment trusts or risk insured in the same year. In June this year, as mentioned by Chairman as well as Secretary Hui, we have completed legislative amendments to facilitate MPF investments in debt securities issued or unconditionally guaranteed by the Central People's Government, the People's Bank of China, and the three main policy banks. Having said the above, one should not forget that the MPF investment restrictions currently in place serve to not exposing scheme members to undue or excessive risks while providing investment flexibility. A case in point is the restricted use of derivatives in the MPF system. This is particularly relevant as we have recently observed the effects of leverage on some UK pension plans, which forced them to sell UK gilts to meet the collateral costs, and this has contributed to a significant fall in the price of UK gilts, causing instability to the market. In the MPF space, we currently do not allow leverage investment as we consider it highly risky for scheme members. The fact that MPF investment restrictions have been operating effectively bears strong testimony to the robustness of the MPF investment regulatory framework. Nonetheless, we strive for continuous improvement, and we welcome the MPF industry's proposals that are in the interest of scheme members, taking into account issues including but not limited to liquidity, valuation, credit, and concentration risks. The MPFA will continue to maintain close communication with the MPF industry on the continual and gradual expansion of the scope of MPF permissible investments. My presentation today has come to a close. Good governance of MPF trustees will continue to be a key element contributing to the long-term success of the MPF system. We look forward to working closely with the MPF industry in the continual refinement and development of the MPF system to meet the long-term retirement needs and protection of the Hong Kong working population. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Yi, for your sharing. So please stay with us as we're getting some questions. So the first question is, what types of funds will be added under this refined approval criteria? Is IT sector fund also allowed it? So over to you.
Thank you. This is a good question. I think it varies. I've already given some examples like A-share funds, ESG funds. Basically, this adding a new fund will have to fulfill the criteria that I've just mentioned. So firstly, the trustee should look at the range of constituent funds that are currently offered. Adding this new fund benefit to the scheme members? If they're of benefit to the scheme members, that pass the first test. And then the second test is whether it satisfies the criteria. So for special funds, IT funds, if they satisfied the criteria, like if the investment profile is sufficiently broad, then we'll consider it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Yi. So let's have one more question since we have a little bit more time. So the second question is, will the MPFA proactively force underperforming MPF funds to leave the market and allows only funds with good performance to stay?
Performance is very important. I must say that our members have high expectations because, like our chairman has said in earlier opening welcome, that this may be the only retirement pool available to them for their retirement. However, underperformance may be attributed to many, many factors. So we'll have to look at each case. We closely monitor whether there have been any underperformance of our funds. And we'll follow up with the trustee to identify what is the root cause causing the underperformance and to take action to change it. For example, in the past, we have come up with certain recommendations. For example, if there have not been sufficient monitoring, perhaps setting up an investment monitoring committee is the right action. For example, if the investment strategy is not right, maybe that needs to be adjusted. Or perhaps if it is due to the investment manager not being capable to deliver the outcome expected, then the investment manager change may be the right move to make. So I think we have to look at the individual circumstances of each case and come to a decision.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Yee. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hand for Ms. Yee one more time for the sharing. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you very much. I think after Ms. Yee's presentation, we all have a better understanding about the latest development in MPF investment governance and also management. So now we're going to take a 10 minutes break. So after we come back, we're going to start the panel discussions on the post-eMPF platforms ecosystem. So see you in a bit. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So during the first sessions, we learned about how the MPF scheme members can strive for a better retirement outcomes and heard some updates on the investment governance and the management of the MPF schemes. So now we're going to move on to our panel discussions, the post-eMPF ecosystems. So our honorable guests will take these opportunities to share their thoughts on the changes that will take place with the upcoming launch of the e-MPF platforms, as well as their digitalization experience in the banking and pension sectors. So now let's welcome our moderator. Let's welcome Mr. Yan-chee, Managing Director of the MPFA, to come join us on stage. And now I would like to invite our panelists. Let's welcome Ms. Kashi Lau, Chairman of the Hong Kong Trustees Associations. Let's welcome Ms. Lau. And next, I would like to invite Ms. Rainbow Pang, Chairman of the Pension Schemes Association. Let's welcome Rainbow. And next, we have Mr. Colin Powell, Executive Director, Financial Infrastructure of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. Let's welcome Colin. And next, we have Ms. Cynthia Ho, Acting Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director for members of the MPFA. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's put a big hand to our moderator and panelists one more time. So over to you, Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So well, I lost the name of the. Fortunately, I remember. What's next? So, okay, so what we are talking about is what's next. What will happen in the post-eMPF platform era, or what will happen to the MPF ecosystem. This is very important because it caused a lot of worries to our stakeholders, in particular the industry. And so that's why today I have invited the chairman of the Hong Kong TA, Kashi Lau, to talk about the situation, and also Rainbow, the chairman of Pension Scheme Association, who represent the sponsors. And I've also invited, of course, our big brother, HKMA's fintech man, Colin Powell, because they have been doing a lot of fintech over the past few years and have been very successful. And of course, we must have our own representatives to talk about this important subject, because otherwise I would be the one sitting in her seat. So it's better to be the moderator so that I can ask people rather than being asked. Okay, so back to the questions I would like to pose to Kashi. Actually, I've been very worrying about you, or in particular the trustees industry. Now that we have we are going to have the e-MPF platform, which is going to take over the scheme administration, which used to be performed by the trustees. So I would like to learn from you, of course, how your business model will be changing after the launch of the e-MPF platform, and also how do you envisage the future operation and services of trustees? Well, maybe you can, well, if you wish, you can talk about whether any of the trustees will follow up, for example. And what new initiatives, in order to avoid this, of course, what initiatives you have to take, you must take in the post-MPF era, and how do you prepare for the transformation and your integration, whether you like it or not, with the e-MPF platform? Kashi.
Thank you. It's a long question. Do I have an hour?
Yes, it's a very long question. But you have very good memory, I know.
An hour, right? Do I have an hour? Hi, I'm Kashi Lau, representing the industry, especially for the trustees. Today I brought some papers, and last night I thought, e-MPF, technology, I better bring my iPad. So voila, I have my iPad just to come to match this occasion. Now, for trustees, of course, we work very closely with the sponsors, because trustees, we have the fiduciary duty over the scheme, but it's the product, the MPF scheme itself, that is the sponsors, because it's their product, okay? But we have overall responsibility for it, including over looking at our sponsor to make sure what they propose or they plan for members are indeed not just meeting the law, but also meeting members' expectation and members' interest. Now, of course, the e-MPF is a new normal. It's going to be a new phase of the MPF system. And it is a very good initiative, but it does take a lot of work. Now, in terms of envisioning changing our operations and services, I think it will definitely reshape the future operations. First of all, this will be a new normal, okay? And the trustee will refocus from the traditional transiting, expanding the B to C capabilities within the traditional B to B, okay? And so trustees with a fiduciary duty, that's why we have to work closely with our sponsors. And when we all talk about this refocus, when we talk about B to C, what we see in the future is, of course, members, they can manage their multiple accounts very easily, and some of them say one click. So there's a possibility of the roles of the intermediaries somehow will be different. Maybe declining, but it could be different. So intermediaries must be agile. Intermediaries must be tech savvy in order. So I think therefore all members, they can resort for the e-MPF platform for most of the matters, okay? So that's also paved the way for what we're all looking for in terms for members, full portability, okay? And I believe our sponsors and our trustees are gearing up to differentiate ourselves. No, even though the function of e-MPF is for scheme and mean, there's certain standardization. It does not mean that the scheme is all the same. So there should be differentiation, okay? So we have to look at how we differentiate. But who is the most important group in here? Of course, is the members. So we are talking about B2C mean a greater focus on member engagement. So we need to drive enhancements in the digital services in parallel with the e-MPF system. And secondly, with our fee being further capped, and so we need to put more focus on investment related, in terms of information, education, fund choice, okay? So, and also we need to, not just performance. Fund performance is only one of the key factors for investment, but appropriateness of fund choice. But you have heard from Gabriella and of course from Chair Lady Ayesha talking about the importance of suitability and the fund appropriateness, okay? So we have to talk about more, so we also focus on financial literacy and investment education, okay? And we use the e-platform to do that more. And ESG, let's not forget, it's going to be sustainability and responsible investing is going to be important in the management of e-MPF scheme. So trustees additional, we need to adopt a new interface with the e-platform and help clients. Our clients need to adapt too, to help clients to adapt to a new way of interaction as well of their management of their schemes. So I would see the continuing pressure not to forget about people. We need to have talent acquisition and talent retention. So we need new sets of skills, okay? So we need to upskill and reskill our people and the new work mode. Now we have to it's a mixture of work from home. So it is not only people. So not just talk about system and about trustees, but also our people. So what do we do in the transformation? I think how the trustees prepare in the integration. I think every trustee has an internal, a multi cross-department task force. Okay, so it covers many areas, like working with the e-MPF PC company and the contractor, PCCW onboarding, communication plan. Okay, that is we need to communicate to so many millions of members. So that's why we need training, not only of our staff, but also of our clients, external parties. And another important part, in addition to client facing, we would also need to deal with our data migration. We have to ensure data quality and also mapping our data with the structure of the e-MPF system. So it's not the data quality. Our data are very clean. We are fine. It's just how we're mapping to the new system. And also the client engagement. So we have to look at all our documentation and also our client agreement of fees and services. So in terms of post-eMPF era afterwards, I think we have to differentiate by talking about investment excellence. Okay, operational excellence will be shared between the trustee and the e-platform, but investment excellence still remain with the trustee and the sponsors. So investor education, but another one is through the use of big data and the analytics, we should have a relook at our product lineup to see if we have provided appropriate fund choices. We noted that the MPFA rushed out their circular on approving CF. So you know that we are very keen to work together. Another one, not just fund choices, fund expenses. We need to look at fund expenses. How can we do some kind of adjustments to make sure we meet the lower fee cap? And the consolidation of funds and schemes is another consideration. From a broader perspective, the launch of e-MPF will bring about the change of roles and responsibilities. And with related changes, of course, the liabilities of the relevant parties, the trustees, the e-MPF platform company, the contractor, the MPFA. So trustees we need to revisit our control procedures to safeguard fiduciary risk management in response to the changes in the governing rules, the amended ordinance, and the regulator activity workflow relating to sponsors and intermediaries. And finally, for a minute, equally important that we need trustees as well as sponsors. We need to stay lean and mean, given the FER fee cap. So efficiency and effectiveness, while, don't worry, Cynthia, don't worry, Gabriella, protecting members' interests. Is that enough?
Thank you very much, Kashi. After listening to what you said, I feel very relieved. You know, you have been, trustees, representing trustees, you have been so well prepared for the e-MPF platform. And I'm sure you would continue to prosper and thrive in the post-eMPF era. Okay, so thank you very much. And let's go to Rainbow. Rainbow is also one of the key players representing Pension Scheme Association in the MPF space. Well, we all know that the implementation of the platform will bring about challenges and opportunities, and there will be more market competition. With opportunities, you have obviously more competition because everyone sees the opportunity, so everyone will come in and rush for those opportunities. So, Rainbow, I would like to ask you to share your views on the potential opportunities that you envisage, and of course also the challenges associated with the platform's launch, and in particular, how it would affect your market strategies, if you would like to share, even though it may be very secretive, I know. And among the sponsors, trustees, I know, well, as Kashi said, trustees have been very well prepared. Among sponsors, trustees, intermediaries, would any one of them become obsolete in the post-eMPF era?
Again, it's a very long question.
Yes.
Okay, so when the e-MPF platform launch, all the administration will be centralized. And also all the transaction, especially the switching between different schemes, will be very traceable. Once the e-MPF platform launch, actually build a very good infrastructure for implementation of the full portability, and especially after that the abolition of the offsetting arrangement will be enforced. Now, with the full portability, really that representing an opportunity and threat. Same, they're equal, right? So like Chinese, we say 危機危機, one word for each, 50% each. So this question actually, how do we retain the asset and also attract a new asset, new inflow, and this has become very, very critical. So in our industry gathering, a common topic will come out, will say, hey, how do you differentiate yourself, right? It's a really $1 million question. So to answer that question, I think it's better we put on client's lens, right? Look at from client's point of view. If I open my e-MPF apps, I have 4 schemes already, and now so convenient I can consolidate them. Which scheme I'm going to choose? So we need to step back, not looking at from the sponsor point of view. Think about as a member, what you're going to choose, what you're looking at. I think it's very important. Three points I think is important. One, if I choose this scheme, A scheme, I hope this scheme has a good reputation. I can trust this brand. Okay. And second, I would like to see this scheme actually have a good investment choices and have long-term consistent performance. The number 3, I will look at what kind of extra value-add service that they have, right? In the past, the sponsor and a different scheme will sell on have an excellent administration service, but now they're all centralized, no different. So then you're looking at what is the value-add service that you can provide. Then, as a sponsor and as the scheme, you need to think about, okay, for brand, what can you do extra on top of what you're doing now to enhance your branding, okay, to build your reputation, get more public, more aware of your brand. And secondly, in terms of investment, then you really need to look at your market strategy. Is the feeder fund still be able to attract new inflow? If different CF actually has, in the different scheme, they all invest in the same underlying MPF. So how do you differentiate yourself? So I think really it's important that you look at your portfolio management structure to probably use more multiple MPF and also use ITCIS. So all these different options to build a foundation for your investment. And also looking at how do you able to deliver long-term, consistent, good performance. I think that is really important for the sponsor to think about. Okay, I think number 3 is in terms of service. How can you differentiate yourself? Okay, in terms of education that you can provide to your members, and also some tools. How do you help them to plan for their future? Okay, I think that is really, really important as well for the market participants. You asked a question whether sponsor, trustee, or intermediate, any one of them will be obsolete. And the straight answer, if you look at the whole ecosystem, and I think each of them still have their role to play. And I don't think any of these roles will be obsolete. But they need to elevate themselves, provide better service. For example, in the future, once in the e-MPF stage, then member can actually switch fund by themselves. They no longer need intermediate to help them. Does that mean intermediate have no job? I don't think so, right? In the past, a lot of intermediate perform the task as an administrator. Oh, I help you to fill in the form. I help you to consolidate the scheme. So those kind of service no longer needed. But intermediate have an important role to play is in client's life journey where they can add value. Okay, so different life stage, the client need different things. And they also need retirement planning. They need to start to save younger and then easier to achieve their goals. So the advisor need to position themselves, the agent need to position themselves as a good advisor. Okay, investment advisor, financial planning advisor. Okay, and in terms of sponsor, as I mentioned earlier, because in the future, once e-MPF is launched and all the education the regulator will be provided and the sponsor will be provided, we hope the whole market will see e-MPF and the MPF system is a good saving tool, saving for their retirement. So we will have a lot of fund choices. Currently already 400 funds, right? In the future, you might have even more funds, more choices. So, and the fee is very, very reasonable. So they can see MPF as a good retirement saving vehicle. Then as a sponsor, and how do you think about in the different life stage, what type of investment choice, what type of product you should design for the member? So that's important. Trustee, I won't steal the thunder. Kasi already talked about how important trustee role is. So I think all these, all current role, they all have a role for the future. Just you need to elevate yourself.
Thank you very much, Rainbow. It's very reassuring. I'm even more relieved after hearing what you said. So everyone has a role, is a new role, okay? And you recognize and is getting prepared for these new roles, okay? Kashi, can I come back to you? Because Rainbow just said she does not want to steal from you, but probably because you still have something to say about, for example, how do you, can we be more specific? Rainbow is giving a lot of advice for sponsors, for intermediaries. How about trustees? What sort of value-add service could trustees adopt or provide to the scheme members in the post-eMPF era so that you would become, you would remain competitive and would not become obsolete?
We will never be obsolete. You know why? Because fiduciary duty is not going away anytime soon, right?
Okay, listen
Thank
to
you.
Kashi's assurance to fellow trustees.
Yeah, really. I mean, if the fiduciary duty is still rests with the trustees, we have the big job anyway. But under the new system with the technology, so we must remain relevant. Actually, what do you mean by competitive? You have to be relevant. If you're not relevant, no matter how cheap you are or whatever, members, you know, you won't get your business. So relevance. So on the technology side in E. Now, of course, you still have to stay with the traditional, somehow with the paper form, some form in terms of education, but you think more of e-advisory, really, because the investment platform will be a major differentiator. So you will need to see what your fund choice, and also think of how your funds can be different. You must come up with talk to the fund managers, talk to Hong Kong IFA. But remember, the fee must come down for the fund manager too, because together we have to make it more value added to our customers. So about the funds, approving the criteria, really talk about the post-retirement. I think the income, regular income, or you have to come and protect them on longevity, okay, inflation risk, where possible. You cannot protect longevity risk without some form of protection on the annuity side or a long-term income. So we will think that instead of, how about data analytics? Use the big data. The data analytics, don't stay just with the traditional demographic information, gender or whatever, but really look at the buying behavior, the switching behavior. You know, what do they go into? Maybe look into your website as to how frequent, what area they're looking into. Then you will stay ahead because the e-MPF platform will not give advice, will not give you investment related, really advisory service. It's still back to the sponsors and the trustees. So I think you will have a clear picture of who your customers are, and they are changing. How you analyze your client 10 years ago will not be very, very relevant into today's environment. So I think look at your customers, but the sponsors, as mentioned already. So I would think that also retirement, well-being, if possible, we would be the financial, not just MPF, financial wellness. Now, if possible, if your organization, a trustee or sponsor, can do, as what Hong Kong RS mentioned, about, you know, social aspect, health aspect, and those aspects, if we can offer together as a whole package, again, you also will win the battle. The residual services, the MPF platform will not cover all the functions that we carry, but we will have to think of residual service. Now, I think there are three main focuses. I think most important is a business strategy and your people well prepared for the new normal. Okay. Second is your selection of your funds, investor education, and provide investment advice through your platform, and also get to know your customers through different means, because they are now, and also don't worry about having a central platform to switch schemes. If you have value in your scheme and you provide it also on your own website or through your WhatsApp or for your e-channel, stay connected with the customer on different points, customer journey, different touch points. e-MPF platform has a touch point, but those are more function to administration. But your own scheme, your own sponsor scheme, we have different touch points. So you can, if you get that touch points right, and through technology and work really caring for your customers and provide a lot of information at the right time and not bombarding information, you will still be to be trusted. I think the team member must trust the trustee. So when we give a lot of information, do it really properly, do it timely, and giving the not too complex, but good information to your members. Is that right, sponsors?
Thank you.
Well
Thank you, Kashi. Is it right, Rainbow?
Okay.
Kashi just asked you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, it seems very clear that the industry is very well prepared for the post-eMPF era. Let's go to the regulator. Is the regulator well prepared for this? You know, the e-MPF is giving a lot of responsibilities and powers to the authority. You may not like it, but the fact is you have been given additional responsibilities and powers to operate this e-MPF platform. So how I mean, from the MPFA angle and your side, can you tell us or share with us, you know, what sort of preparation you have made? It seems that it's not mine, but you have made. And also whether this you are well prepared for these changes and would support the implementation of the platform.
Oh, thank you for the question, boss. Your first question to me was whether I'm well prepared. So I think my answer has to be yes. So that's the first answer to your first question. In terms of preparedness, we see that there are at least three aspects that we need to prepare for. The first one is being a regulator of the MPF industry. We have to be prepared for the change. Kashi and Rainbow has already talked about how they will actually change. And being the regulator, we have to change the way that we regulate the industry as well. And as a start, because of the onboarding journey of all the trustees, and it's a complex exercise to onboard all the different schemes and the different trustees. So we have to have a very good plan. So in our supervisory plan program at the moment, we have a plan for all the trustees, for every single trustees. We have teams to actually hold the hands and, you know, together with the trustees, we have a good plan to ensure that there will be the onboarding journey will be a smooth one. And in preparation for after the onboarding, the first thing that we have to do is the fee control. So I think a number of people have mentioned that already. It's one of the in fact, it's the primary objective. It's the most important objective from the members' perspective of the e-MPF platform project. So we have to have a good framework in terms of ensuring the fee control aspect is properly done by the trustees. The strict pass-through, I won't go into the details of it, but there's a regulatory requirement that the savings generated from the e-MPF platform has to be passed on to the members directly. So we have, you know, we're building that framework, we're developing a framework for ensuring that that will happen. So that's from the industry side. And the second aspect is that we've now got a child. So it's like a new parent, we've got a child. So this is the first time. So it's a very important, significant responsibility for the MPFA that we now have a subsidiary which will actually be operating and administering all the MPF schemes of the industry. So this is the first time we do this, and we have to be able to oversee this new subsidiary, ensure that all the proper controls and things like that are in place. Because if something goes wrong, then it will affect the entire industry. We don't want that to happen. So it's very, very important. And even before operation, like in the current stage, when the infrastructure is being built, we are basically watching over the shoulders of the subsidiary to ensure the work is done properly. So that's the second aspect, and it's a completely new aspect to us. So we are adapting, and we are finding the ways to actually overcome this new challenge ourselves. And then the third one is from the MPFA's operation point of view, our usual operation. It's not, the e-MPF platform does not only affect trustees, employers, and employees. As you all know, we have a member protection division, and it is important that any default contributions are being dealt with by us properly. And at the moment, we actually rely on the trustees to provide us with the default contribution information for us to be able to carry out our duties to protect members. But then in the future, we'll be accessing that information from the e-MPF platform. So we need to be well prepared. We need to change our own procedures, our processes. And not only just that, we are supposed to be leading the transformation of the industry. We're supposed to lead the industry in the transformation. So we have to set the good examples ourselves. So we are actually seriously going through all our processes of the MPFA to ensure that we are improving it, we are making them more efficient, effective, and streamlining and automating many, many of our processes. So these are the three aspects that we're going through. So we are having a very busy time, boss.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. I can verify that it's true. Okay, so you can hear from industry and the authority that we are indeed well prepared for this challenge or for this change, for the post-eMPF era. So you can sleep very well at night tonight. Okay, so now we have invited, as I said, Colin, who is the fintech expert in HKMA, and they have been working on fintech for a number of years and very successful. So actually, I would like Colin to share with us your success stories and your lessons to learn so that we could help us to even prepare better for the post-eMPF era. Colin.
Well, thank you, Yan-chee. Well, before I answer your question, I think I must echo what you just mentioned. After listening to Kashi, Rainbow, and Cynthia as an MPF member, I feel very confident and secure about your migration to the new era. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, for us, I think you're right. I think the digital transformation of the banking sector has been progressing quite rapidly in the past few years. First, I think the pandemic did have, accelerated the pace of market digitalization. There are more appetite for digital solutions. On the other hand, the HKMA did have invested quite a lot of effort in the past few years in, expediting the fintech development in Hong Kong. We established what we call the Fintech Facilitation Office back in 2016. After that, we launched quite a number of initiatives, like the smart banking initiatives, the FPS, the virtual banking regime in Hong Kong. And very recently, we also launched what we call the commercial data interchange. It is a consent-based platform to facilitate corporate to share the data with banks so that they can have better access to financial service. I think in this journey of digitalization, what we see about the benefits of the whole process is that, in simple terms, there are two aspects. First, it will help you to do your existing work better. Another thing is, it will open up new horizons. So questions to Kashi and Rainbow about whether any of the service provider will become obsolete, I guess it will not. There are always new opportunity arises. The ecosystem will become more easily accessible. There may be new activities or new service to be provided. So I'm quite confident, and the MPF sector will continue to prosper, rather than any of the existing service provider will be hard hit by this new development. Well, as to the kind of challenge, and I think one issue stands out quite apparently to us about this fintech development is that it is not a development that we can do it on our own, not just by one sector. It actually requires the whole ecosystem to work together. For example, if you want to provide better customized digital service to individuals, the first issue you may come across is how to identify that particular individuals. Fortunately, we now have the I'm Smart solution. Actually, it can be widely used by financial institutions when it comes to onboarding our customers. So I think it is important when implementing the e-MPF platform, probably MPFA can consider looking beyond your own parameters to see how you can collaborate with the stakeholders in the ecosystem as a whole. That will actually enlarge the space of the, I think, existing service providers in providing more service, more comprehensive service to the MPF members.
Thank you for your advice, Colin. Now, this is what happened in the banking sector. What about the MPF sector? Maybe I would like to ask Rainbow first. How do you, do digitalization in the pension industry? And also, since digital take-up is so important, how would you do things, or what measures would you take to enhance and promote digital take-up among your clients?
And I think these days, everybody like to use their apps, right? We reduce the time we go to do personal banking, right? So it's quite common. Each company will provide website and a mobile app for their customer. Same as the pensions industry. Almost all schemes will have website and apps. And they all have different look and feel. And I think most importantly is provides service, convenience for the customer. And post-eMPF, I think, have eMPF portal, the client portal, make it even more convenient to the customer. Say if I have 4 schemes now, I need to get used to 4 different systems, which is pretty hard to memorize that. But in the future, if we have one platform, it's so much more convenience for the customer. And I think digitalization is really improve the efficiency in terms of operation and also improve the service level, the touch point that we can give it to the customer. And how do we promote digitization? I think this should be a joint effort for the whole industry. Regulator is going to promote e-MPF. I think next year, probably a lot heavier in terms of the spending and the campaign that you're going to run. For Pension Scheme Association, because our duty really is to look after clients' interests and client education and acting as a bridge between public and the regulator, and also looking at how we can develop more product to suitable for client in different life journey. So I think for Pension Scheme Association, we're really happy to partner with regulator to do the promotion of e-MPF and promotion of digital take-up rate. I think all parties, and I'm sure trustee industry will do the same. So all participants in the market should join force to really educate clients and help to boost the digital take-up rate. And also, I believe in the e-MPF company also have this outreach center. So you have the center physically located in different places in Hong Kong. So people can go into the shop and experience the digital tool. I think that probably help with the digital take-up rate as well.
Thank you, Rainbow. And thank you for the offer. We will certainly take up. We will work with the Pension Scheme Association and also the Trustee Association to do this very important task of educating, promoting the e-MPF platform, because digital take-up is really very important. Now, I would like to go back to Cynthia, because the e-MPF platform is an enabling factor, because with the big data, with the infrastructure, you can do a lot of things. That's what people said. Actually, I'm not sure. But anyway, so with this infrastructure, what would you envisage that the reform initiatives that would be pursued, given this infrastructure, given this big data, and also there's a saying or request that would the infrastructure be opened up to fund managers? A number of fund managers are now here. They would like to put up their funds on the platform so that they could, make them available to the scheme members directly or freely. How would you envisage these things to happen?
Firstly, the type of reforms that we've envisaged, I think many of you are already aware. The first one is the abolition of offsetting, and it's not entirely on the e-MPF platform, so I have to clarify that, because some people have a misunderstanding that the offsetting is all done on the e-MPF platform. But in fact, what is on the e-MPF platform is what we call a designated savings account for employers. What the platform can help with is to collect the 1% contribution into this designated savings account, what we call the DSA. The reason why it's put on this platform is because for efficiency purpose, basically, and make it more convenient for employers. Because at the moment, employers are contributing 5%, employees contributing 5%, and it all goes to the e-MPF platform when it's built in the future. So for the DSA account, we have to collect another 1% for the government. And so it's a lot more convenient if all contributions are collected through the one place. It would actually make the user experience for the employers a lot better and more convenient for them. So that's one thing. And the other thing is full portability. I think we have heard a lot of requests for full portability. At the moment, we have ECA, which is only half portability. And with the introduction of the e-MPF platform, because all the movements of funds and accounts are all in the one place, which will make full portability possible. So these are the two very big things that people have heard about. And there are also some other requests which are more down to earth or affecting people's day-to-day things that they might do. For example, we've been in discussion with Colin, with the HKMA, for example, with the CDI initiative that they have, the commercial data interchange. With the consent of employers, it is actually possible to provide MPF statements showing that employers have made contributions for them to actually apply for loans from the banks. So this is one possibility, another more down-to-earth possibility. And another similar possibility for employees is that sometimes we've heard requests about people wanting proof of income or whatever to income levels so that they can actually apply for social benefits. So again, with the consent of scheme members, that again becomes a standard proof for people to actually go and apply for that sort of benefits from the government. It will actually make things more convenient for people, not just on the MPF front. So I think these are initiatives that we can pursue once we've got the platform up and running. And as to your question about fund managers putting funds onto the platform, I have to say that the original objective of the platform is to do scheme administration, take over the scheme administration functions from the trustees. So that's the primary objective of that. It does not have much to do with the fund managers or the investment managers. But we do see that with the platform, with the introduction of the platform, the industry, the entire MPF industry, should be more focused on introducing good products.
on the investment side, introducing products that would actually earn better returns for members and introducing products that would actually meet people's retirement needs. And in that respect, I think the platform will actually allow the entire industry to shift from doing the chore work of administration to think more about introducing good products. So, but I have to add one more point, is that any products to be introduced by the fund managers, they should really discuss with the trustees first, because the trustees has the overall responsibility and the fiduciary duty that Kashi has mentioned a few times.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. So fund managers, don't be disappointed. Come and work with the trustees and the sponsors, okay? Now, as Cynthia just mentioned about CDI, this is obviously one, as Colin mentioned, one of the recent initiatives. What more can you tell us, share with us, and teach us? What can be applied in the recent fintech initiatives, which have been applied in banking sectors, could be considered for application in the MPF sector, and related or making use of the e-MPF platform. Colin.
Hi. Well, I think for the application of different types of technology, it will be highly use case dependent. Okay, really look at the use case that you are investigating. But I would say a very key core concept behind all these initiatives is actually to achieve a significant network effect. And on this, I think the e-MPF platform is actually the most important first step for the MPF sector to actually, capture the benefit of a much significant network effect. It is true that new territories may bring about stronger computing power, larger capacity, or higher speed. But actually, a lot of benefit actually coming from a more, a better connected network of, service providers and different, stakeholders. So on this, I think Cynthia just mentioned about the possibility of, using CDI to help SME with good MPF contribution record to get better borrowing terms. There may be other use cases. For example, for MPF service provider, if they want to, perform customer due diligence, they may actually get hold of the relevant information via the CDI from government departments to perform the customer due diligence. There may also possibility for, say, the e-MPF users to leverage the CDI. Later on, maybe they can make use of the solutions that we are right now working with the Office of the Government CIO on a corporate EID solution to deal with, customer consent and customer authorization. We are actually working on those fronts. And I think the larger the network that we can, expand, the more value actually we can bring to the users of the network. And that's the kind of direction that we are heading in terms of, the CDI implementation.
Thank you very much, Colin. I think this discussion is quite full already, actually. It's clear to, I believe, all of you that the industry is well prepared, the authority is well prepared, so that you should be very confident about the migration. So no need to worry about. So maybe now it's time to open up the panel to the floor and to our audience in Zoom to raise questions to the speakers. And I actually have received quite a number of questions, which I would like to raise it for fellow panel members to answer, if you feel like. The first question is, probably because the audience heard that we are all prepared, so they would also like to get prepared. So the question is, how can the public be prepared for e-MPF? Anyone would like to be the first to speak on this topic? Trustees are well prepared. So how could the public be well prepared?
First of all, whoever that public or the group is has to be interested, because there's a lot of information. There's many, many trustees and sponsors in the market. They could just contact their MPF provider, and they will get the information and the support. because we will work with our customers, because after e-MPF, the customer is still our customers. It's not the e-MPF platform only perform the operational function. So I think actually there's a lot of information, and MPFA is more than happy to be involved in a lot of seminars and events. So I think they can always call their consultant or their MPF provider. They will be more than happy to do so, because by having that relationship with the customer means they can retain these customers even after e-MPF. That's one suggestion.
Rainbow, you want to chip in?
This is a new platform. As a customer, if we switch spot, think ourselves as a customer, it's pretty hard for myself to get prepared, right? So I think it will be, again, is a collective effort. As a sponsor, as a trustee, we need to hold customers' hand. Earlier, I mentioned that how do you differentiate your service? This is a perfect opportunity to differentiate your service. How do you hold your customer's hand? Help them to understand what is the new platform and what's the new procedure they need to go through. They might not know how to use the website. They might not know how to do many things. So as a sponsor and trustee, I think both, we should really work together and help customer.
Yeah.
One more.
Yes,
is
please.
we also, Colin, actually, we are all very, very e-platform. Everybody, we have it, but the people don't use it. But now, so there has to be enforced on them. But the thing is, we already have this e-platform. But I think is we all want to help our customer get digital, because that also increase our efficiency, economy of scale. So it's just that we will continue to encourage more e-platform, and so that digital take-up. So by 2023 to 24, 25, more people will be already on the e-platform, so that digital take-up will grow much more easier. Thank you.
Thank you, Kashi. Cynthia, you want to say something on this?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Well, we have actually started doing that since December last year. We had a huge exercise. We called it the stakeholder consultation exercise, which ran for about 7 months, just the consultation part of it. And then we've done another 3 months of work in analyzing the comments and the feedback that we've received from the stakeholder consultation exercise. We actually ran over 104 sessions, reaching out to 190 different bodies and associations, collecting comments and feedback, and people telling us directly what they would like to see on the e-MPF platform, how we can actually make it interesting to them so that they would like to use it and they can see the benefits of it. And we're not stopping there. Because we still need to keep the ball rolling, basically. Next year, we'll be rolling out a huge awareness campaign. It's actually a territory-wide awareness campaign to make people aware of this e-MPF platform that is coming their way. Apart from that, after that, when the trustees and the scheme start getting on board to the platform, our contractor will actually run another huge campaign, which is what we call the marketing campaign. This campaign will actually be telling people exactly what the platform can do for them, and there'll be educational sessions like workshops, and we'll reach out to all sorts of stakeholders, running classes, lectures, workshops, or whatever you call it, and basically holds people's hand so that they know how to use the platform. And hopefully, with good impression and good first-time experience, we can actually get to our target of 90% digitalization rate in 5 years very soon.
Thank you, Cynthia. Now, I received another interesting questions. Well, again, I don't know to whom I should direct these questions, but anyway, all of you may be interested. Do you envisage that eventually all members could simply invest in a central scheme so that they can choose the investment fund of their choice instead of having to choose the funds within a specific scheme? This will be the most efficient way to streamline the administration and save cost. Kashi, you want to give a go on this?
Now, the ordinance now is still very much scheme-based, and you change the law, okay, regarding that. But the fiduciary duty, I think the oversight is important. Just don't think of having that sense of freedom for members, but how about the sense of protection? So I think it's important.
I suppose with the central scheme, you still need a trustee. The question is, who is the trustee?
the government, MPFA.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Actually, it has been talking about having a public trustee. I think if you have a very centralized platform, and then with MPFA overseeing it, so you still need a trustee, but that would be a public trustee, or with some organization with a public interest. So we still MPFA and the government having the ordinance and the protection according to all members.
So your view is that if there is a central trustee, there should be just the central scheme, there should be just central trustee, and which, in your view, is government?
No, it could have some organization with public interest.
Okay.
Public interest company. Okay, but I think it's still a long way unless it's still very scheme-based. So I think it's easy to say let's have something central, something, but you have to think of the whole process. That change of ecosystem needs a lot more thinking than just say, let's have this and let's have that.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by thinking about it. And what's the consequence before you think that's a good idea?
Thank you. Rainbow?
I think with the e-MPF platform, it's so easy. You can, on your fingertips, you can choose different schemes fund. Like A scheme have good fund and B scheme have good fund. I got multiple fund across many schemes, but it's very convenient because I only got one platform that I need to use. Whether we should have a centralized one public-based trustee, or we have current system with many trustees in place, I don't see much difference. I think have advantage on both different arrangement. Then both work basically. But the benefit is for member, you can actually choose many good funds in different schemes. You don't have to stuck with one.
Okay. Cynthia, any views on this from the authorities' point of view?
Maybe from my personal point of view, I can't speak for the authority on this. I can understand why the industry is asking that question, because they might be thinking that, okay, you are now taking over the administration, then you take over trusteeship, then you take over other fund management. Personally, I'm not aware of such an agenda, personally. I don't know, maybe MD, you know more about it.
I'm not aware either.
But I would say that there are different types of this sort of framework around the world. A different jurisdiction runs it differently. And I don't think one framework is definitely better than the other. So a centralized platform may have its own merits, but I'm sure there will be other issues with a centralized, everything centralized, maybe a monopoly, concentration of risk. That sort of issues also exist. So I can't see that one way is definitely better than the other. And I'm not sure that we need to rush to that sort of conclusion of, because this is a very fundamental change and it needs very wide consultation with all the stakeholders, the public and the government.
I see, thank you. Cynthia, I think it's something, is it something like, you don't need so many banks, you just need one bank and then the central bank?
I think personally, I support to have an efficient centralized system, but as the customers, I prefer to have more choices in terms of service providers.
Yeah.
But that's my personal view.
Okay, understood. Okay, so thank you very much. I think this.
Thank you for being a friend of the MPF system.
Okay, I think we have come to an end of our session because the clock is, giving me signal that I should end this session as quickly as possible. Otherwise, the HKCEC would have to kick us out. Anyway, so thank you very much, and please give a big hand to our panel speakers. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, our moderator and panelists. So please be seated off stage. Thank you very much. So very insightful sharings by our speakers here today, sharing from a different perspective. I think we all learn more about the post-eMPF ecosystems and learn about the challenges and also the opportunities of the eMPF. All right, so I believe that most of our guests and also friends will now have a deeper understanding about the post-eMPF ecosystems in both stakeholders' transformations and digitalizations. And it is vitally important to have all the MPF trustees, sponsors, and other stakeholders sitting here to join hands to support the e-MPF platforms and develop a robust retirement systems for Hong Kong. So to wrap up today's symposium, let's put our hands together and welcome once again Mr. Yan-chee, Managing Director of the MPFA, to come up to the stage for a closing remark. Let's welcome Mr. Cheng.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this symposium. And I believe you would agree that we have a stimulating and productive discussion today, this afternoon. And I would especially like to thank our distinguished speakers and panel members who share the insight with us here today. During the session this afternoon, we heard presentations on how MPF investments can provide for a better retirement outcome. As the impact of an aging population will be felt for many years to come, it is important to find new investment opportunities so that MPF scheme members can look forward to a sustainable and stable retirement life. Echoing Kelvin's recommendations on MPF investment education and launch of more innovative fund choices that generate stable returns, the MPFA has continuously devise publicity and educational programs for the general public so that they can learn more on how to manage their MPF for a better retirement. Also, as elaborated by Gabriella, the MPFA has been refining the approval procedure and criteria of MPF funds and working closely with the MPF industry on expanding the MPF permissible investments so as to facilitate market players to providing more diversified investment solutions for scheme members. We also had a lively discussion just now with Kashi, Rainbow, Cynthia on the challenges, changes, and opportunities in the MPF ecosystem for stakeholders and the future reform initiatives which may be brought about by the development of fintech after the implementation of the e-MPF platform. Colin shared with us the success stories and benefits of digitalization in the banking sector, the issues and concerns to be addressed, as well as the latest fintech initiatives that can be applied in the MPF sector. There are a few points I would like to highlight following the panel discussion. The e-MPF platform is going to bring the efficiency of the MPF system to the next higher level. MPF trustees should rise to the challenge by refining their target operating models and delivering even better services for our scheme members. Industry players could take advantage of the opportunities that emerge from this mega reform by rejuvenating their market strategies and formulating innovative retirement solutions. In the long run, the e-MPF platform will help to bring forth market competition which results in cost savings, better products, and enhanced service quality, thus benefit, once again, our MPF scheme members. On the other hand, as the e-MPF platform is going to be launched, it will be necessary for scheme members, employers, and MPF practitioners to expedite their own digital transformation. At the MPFA, as mentioned by Cynthia, we will ensure that we are well equipped to handle changes in the operational mode and the regulatory regime when the e-MPF platform goes into full operation. The success of our digital transformation will depend on active employer and member engagement. This is essential for achieving sustained customer-focused cultural change. Working together, I believe the MPFA, the e-MPF platform company, and the industry, we will be able to prepare an effective engagement and communication strategy that both employers and scheme members will buy into the new MPF ecosystem. Since the early stage of the e-MPF platform project, MPF trustees have been fully devoted, actually we are also fully devoted, to the development of the e-MPF platform and have provided comprehensive support by committing enormous resources and manpower. I would like to join the MPFA chairman in thanking MPF trustees for their continuous support to the implementation of this very important project. On behalf of the MPFA, I would like to thank you all for your participation this afternoon, which was important for us for the success of this event and the work which we are doing. We look forward to working with you all in the years ahead and having you join us in our efforts to continue improving the MPF system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Cheng. Please be seated. Thank you very much for the closing remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, the MPF Symposium 2022 has come to an end. So, on behalf of MPFA, I would like to thank you all for your support and your participations here. So now let's give a big round of applause to yourself. So the presentation materials and the video highlights will be available on the MPFA website shortly. And we look forward to see you again next year. Thank you and have a great evening. Goodbye.